very interesting and very informative for me because I was when I young, I used to think about the visions and what young people think about their coming opportunities. And yesterday, as Dr. Daniel showed us her beautiful presentation, there are so many confusions which I used to have clear, and I'm very happy to be a part of this session. Thank you.
Okay, nice to have you. Nice to have you. That's a very, very wonderful present introduction, and nice to have you once again. So I'm going to call on our second person. I'm going to call on Idi Musimwa. I'm sorry if I didn't get that name right. Yeah, Idi Musimwa. So you can kindly unmute yourself and tell us your name and your career profession and what you learned from yesterday's program. Okay, I guess it's not around. So let me call on another person again. Birit Taye. So you can kindly unmute yourself and introduce yourself to us. Tell us where you're calling us from, and also tell us what you learned from yesterday's program. Okay, let me call on that person again. I'm going to call on George Wanjiru. George Wanjiru, you can kindly unmute yourself and introduce yourself to us. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'm going to call on the next person, Aro Elizabeth. Can you unmute yourself and introduce yourself to us? Tell us your name, your country, and your profession, and also what you learned from the day one session yesterday.
Okay, my name is Aro Elizabeth Oluwaseyi. I'm from Nigeria. My profession, I'm a medical laboratory scientist. I didn't attend yesterday's class because my phone's battery was low, so I can't do anything about it.
No, okay. Yeah, welcome for the day two section. No problem about that. We're happy that you're able to make a time to attend to the program, and we're believing that the best is yet to come. So I'm going to call on our next person to unmute herself and introduce herself to us. I'm going to call on kindly unmute yourself and introduce yourself to us. Okay, let me try to mention another person. I guess probably they are not actively online. I just want to make this session interactive and for us to really gain a couple of things. So I think I need to move ahead now, and what I want to talk about now is about what we learned yesterday from yesterday program, because I believe that we are attending this program for a good change, for a transformation, and you don't just want to attend because of the certificate alone. You don't just want to attend because of because of what you just want to gain. There's a lot to gain from it. So I believe
This
that
meeting is being recorded.
Was great. I believe that yesterday's session was amazing, was interesting from our speaker, and you have definitely gained a lot of things to impact yourself, to work on yourself, to to really make things working in your career profession. So I love 3 volunteers to kindly speak on what you learned yesterday and what you're able to learn, and how you think that you can work on what you learn, because after you learn something, there's a way for you to plan and also to navigate your plans for you to achieve your goal and to meet what you learn. So I don't know if there's any volunteer, anybody that want to contribute or that want to talk about what you have learned yesterday. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I said that if there's any one of us down to have any down to volunteer to speak about what you have learned yesterday from yesterday program, I said that you can kindly unmute yourself and tell us what you have learned from yesterday program and your expectation for today program.
Okay, good evening.
Okay, good evening to you.
Okay, I'm Monini Singwe from Rwanda country. Now, I'm youth advisor of the Ultra project, which is being implemented by AFDEP. For yesterday, it was really session which was insightful to us, especially to us young leaders, because we have engaged in youth leadership styles and skills that we can use during leading others, especially for us young people.
That is very wonderful. That's very amazing. That's great. So thank you very much, Simone. So once another person again to unmute yourself and introduce yourself. And what's your expectation for today's program? Okay, sorry for that. I just have to unmute the person. So in case we don't have any volunteer, I would love to do a recap about what we learned yesterday, so you can able to build on that today. We have Dr. Daniela. So Dr. Daniela talked about individual vision, talk about a lot of things, talking about building capacity in your profession and things you need to do to develop yourself. You talk about individual vision and mission in your career. You talk about personal growth, decision making, and networking and collaborating. And also, during our first speaker yesterday, Dr. Daniela talked about how we can able to carry out innovative research in our profession to help global health equality. And also we should also talk about being a youth leadership, that it's come with a couple of attribute values. It's not just by it's not just saying, okay, I want to be a leader, you must be ready to pay the price and be ready to really give you all what it takes. You talk about some attributes, resilience, and your passion, and a lot of attributes that can help to really do well about that. So, but there's one thing that Dr. Diana said yesterday that really struck me. She said, if youth get involved, we have a longer time to make impact. And that's why, we are youth and you're supposed to really be on the ground of making impact and doing a lot of things. And because if we get involved by the youth, we have a longer time to really work on the project. And by that, you understand the fact that anything, probably the research we're doing, there'll be enough time to carry it out and get a positive response from it. Okay, yeah, so I'm going to make a recap of the second speaker so we can able to understand that. The second speaker, Dr. Odinaka Kingsley, so he talked about who is a youth, and when he was talking about that, who is a youth, that okay, do you really know what a youth is? And talking about classification of the youth, that from United Nations, from 15 of age, 24 of age, so it's classified as a youth, and a lot of things it's also talk about too. It talk about some opportunities, talk about a lot of things that you can do to be a youth leader, and apart from that, talk about what is youth equality. It talk about what is global health. It talk about roles in youth in addressing health equality. Like there are some rules that we have to do to really address inequalities. We are missing huge global health inequalities, and we have to understand that there are some rules that we need to do. There's some things that we need to do. There's some responsibility that we need to do for us to carry out a very proper way of advancing and innovating on global health inequalities. Talk about collaboration, talk about partnership, talk about research, talk about advocacy and volunteering, engaging in community that involve in advancement of medical and health issues in Africa and at large globally. And I can do for now concerning the day one. And I'm really happy to tell you that today is the day 2 of the program, and I'm welcoming everyone. And thanks for joining today. And I believe that as you join today, there are really greater things for you to learn, and prepare your mind, have your writing materials for you to jot down, and make sure that your heart is set, like you focus about today. So for today, we'll be having our first speaker today. We're having our first speaker today that is going to help us to our first speaker that's going to explain a lot of things to us about what we have today. So I would love to introduce our first speaker. Hello, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, that's good. Sorry about that. Just have to. Okay, so our first speaker for today, his name is Dr. Adereni Abiodun, and it's a visionary in maternal and infant healthcare in Nigeria. Dr. Adereni Abiodun is a young social entrepreneur who has dedicated his life to improving maternal and infant healthcare across Nigeria. He's the founder and the CEO of EPMO, a social enterprise leveraging the power of mobile technology and low-cost innovation. Dr. Abiodun has developed a multi-40 approach to tackle challenges faced by pregnant women and infants in rural, remote, and semi-urban areas. So you can see that Dr. Abiodun is really a very innovative someone that has been doing great things in Africa and Nigeria, and he has been able to work in the health sector and able to do so many things there. So with that, I would love to call on our facilitator for today, the person of Dr. Abiodun Adereni.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? Can you see me?
Yes, sir.
Yes. We can see you.
Can you hear you, sir?
Okay. So it's nice to be here today. Sorry about my background. There's no light around where I am at the moment. So I'm going to reframe this talk around how to invest in youth-led businesses, or what are the things that youth should understand if they're trying to raise funding from investors, from donors, and from anybody, even if it is debt, right? The first thing that is very important that you must understand when you're raising funding is that you must have a viable business. What do I mean by a viable business? You must ensure that any business that you want to get yourself into is something that you really understand. And I'm going to explain that more deeper. One of the things I've come to realize in this entrepreneurship space is that a lot of people try to they try to do NGOs that are meant to be businesses, right? The core aim of any business whatsoever, is for investors to make their money and for them to make interest out. And the core aim of any NGO is for you to create impact, and not just creating only impact, it's for you to create impact at massive scale. So it's important that you understand what I'm doing. Is it meant to be a business or is it meant to be an NGO? And I see a lot of people make that kind of mistake sometimes. You see people that what they are trying to do, there is no path for sustainability around it. There is no path for exit around it. There is no path for IPO around it. Anybody funding that business and they continue in that line. And that's one of the worst mistake you can make as an individual, thinking that you are doing something and you are just wasting your time. So it is important, if you want to start something, you understand, is this idea that I have, is this innovation that I have, is it meant to be an NGO or is it meant to be a business? So let me give you an instance now. If you're doing a business or you have an idea, a business is something that somebody is willing to pay for. It's any service or product that you can have that somebody is willing, that you are doing, that you are using to tackle a social issue that people don't have money to pay for. So there's a huge difference around that. Why a social enterprise is a business that you are doing, some people can pay for it, whereas like 25% of people can pay for it. So if you understand these dynamics, it will help you to reframe the way you structure yourself when you want to run anything, whether a business or social enterprise. The other thing I also want to mention is that it is very important also that you think around sustainability. It is important from the get-go, you think about sustainability. And I'll give you an instance. So I run Help Mom, right? Help Mom basically is a social enterprise. We are all concerned about tackling maternal and infant mortality. And I can tell you for a fact that one of the structures we put in place is that we have product and services. We have some products and services that people cannot pay for. We look for partners to pay for them, they will give it out for free. Then we have some product and services that people can pay for, then we sell it to them and we make our money off that. And that has actually created this sustainability vehicle around what we are doing, that no matter what's wrong, and we will still be able to have a social enterprise in quote. One of the things I come to realize about a lot of NGOs is that they do a lot of great work, but there's no sustainability vehicle. So there's no scalability option there. They just continue to do that great work. They just continue to do all those programs. And at the end of the day, you hear that the founder has left the country and the program just goes off like that. And that is one of a lot of expertise. I mean, a lot of white people that come into Africa to run NGOs and a lot of people that are domiciled in that country to run NGOs, because a lot of white folks that come into Africa to run NGOs, they understand the dynamics. They understand the sustainability vehicle that can help you to be functional for a long time. So it is very important if you're running, and I'm talking about people running an NGO now, or that the path they want to go is to run an NGO for scale, is to think about what is that sustainability vehicle that I can do? What is that thing that I can do at this early stage that can help me enable? And even if there's no grant funding, I will not just die off. So it is very important you guys think about that at this early stage so that you can understand how you can run your business effectively well. Second thing is that if you're running an NGO and you want to last, you must think about scale. Must be something that you think about constantly. And I will explain that. One of the best way you can scale anything you're doing is through innovation and technology. Innovation and technology must sit at the heart of anything you are doing if you want to scale it. And I will give you an instance. We have product
those feedback to go back to the drawing board to improve on that product and make it better. Help Mama has a vaccination tracker that we use in rural communities to improve immunization outcome. We noticed that that cannot only help improve immunization into those products and look at how you can use. We collected more data and we developed an AI model that is now more effective for us to improve immunization outcome. What is important, what is very important I want you guys to note today is that without research and development in what you are doing, if you have a technology product, you cannot scale at impact and it cannot scale massively. If you look at Facebook for an instance now, assuming when Facebook started, the only product, the only thing they had was news feed. They didn't think about maybe someday there'll be a new player in place to take over them. They won't be functional today. They started thinking about that at the early stage on how they can take new market by acquisition, and they can also take new market by research. So it is very important if you have a technology product, you keep doing more research. You have a good M&E in place to collect data and keep doing more research to make what you're doing, make your offering better. And the third thing I will talk about is that you have to speak to the right partners and the right donors for what you do. It is very important when you think about what you're trying to build, what you're trying to do, who are the important donors, who are the important people you have to speak to, so that your idea will leave that idea phase and move to a very functional and a very good phase. Let me give you an instance. If you're running an NGO, you don't have a business speaking with people, accelerators that are concerned about funding startups, because that's the waste of your time. They won't even answer you. So it is important you know the right partners you have to speak to. If you have an NGO, know the right people that you have to talk to. Know the right people that you have to engage with. If you have a startup, know the operators you need to go to. Is it YC? Is it Techstars? Is it Accelerator? Is it angel investors you have to speak to? Do you have to go pitch your idea at Republic? You have to know all these good partners that are very essential that are very critical for the growth of your work. If you're an NGO, who are the local funders that fund the kind of ideas that you have to talk to? How do you get across to them? How do you use them to leverage on getting across to bigger funders? So these are the things that you have to put in place if you're thinking about how you are going to sustain anything you are building. Remember, I've talked about three things. I've talked about sustainability, I've talked about scalability, I've also talked about fundraising. Number 4 is that you need to have a great team. Nobody's going to invest in a business that is a one-man show. Even at the inception, even the way you have only 2, or if it's just only you, look for people. They might not necessarily be part of it full time, but they should be they should be able to work in line with you if you are talking to donors or investors, and they should be able to even work in line with you even part-time. No serious donor, and I'm also talking about businesses too, is going to give you funding based on the fact that you're the only one running it. They want to see that you have an outstanding team that can work with you, that can grow with you, and that can help you to actualize the kind of goals, the kind of achievement that you want. No serious, nobody is going to do that. So it is important that at this early stage that you think about who are the essential donors, who are the essential partners that can work with me in my business and can help me scale my business. So it is important you think about that at this early stage so that you can attract the right kind of people to work with you, and you can attract the right kind of people to help you in scaling your innovation. Like I said, nobody is going to give you money based on the fact that you have a very beautiful idea. Nobody is going to give you money based on the fact that you have a very innovative idea. Nobody is going to give you money based on the fact that you are the best first mover. They want to see a solid team behind what you are doing. And without a solid team, you can't really scale. You're just the person that's going to be pushing the idea, but you can't really scale because you need people that can help you to take that idea and make it functional and put it into action. You need people that can help you be on the field to ensure that idea is working. You need people that can help you be on the field to collect feedback to run that idea. So that's also another thing that I think that is very, very, very important. And also the last thing I'm going to talk about is inbuilt trust early. One of the things I've come to realize is that at the early stage of projects and entrepreneurship with a lot of startup founders, most of the time they make a mistake by not imbuing trust early in what they do. And let me tell you something. One of the good things about you imbuing trust early in what you do is that it helps people to trust you. It helps people to put their life on the line for what you are building. And it helps people to like stand for you when you are not there. Let me give you an instance now. You have an NGO, you receive $1,000. Use it very well so that that person that gave you $1,000 tomorrow can introduce you to someone that can give you $50,000. Use that money very well, that the person that gives you $50,000 can give you $50,000. I have a very good mechanism of reporting your impact to your donors so that they can be able to talk for you in places that you cannot reach. So it is very important to think about that. Look at it this way. Who are the people that you need to talk to? How can you get across to them? How can they help you leverage their network to help you grow your organization? And the best way to do that is to build trust with them. How do you build trust? They give you $1,000, use it for it. Use it for the project you collected money for. Ensure that you're very honest and you have difficult conversations with them. You can't do the project based on some things. Tell them early so that they can know the constraints that you have. Let me tell you one thing. Trust is not what you seek. Trust is what you build. And trust is what you build by your actions, not what you say. So it is very important at the early stage when you are building anything you are building that you incorporate trust into what you are doing. You incorporate people being able to put their life on the line for what you are building. You incorporate people being able to vouch for you. You incorporate you telling them the truth no matter how hard it is. You incorporate having the difficult conversations early enough. And one thing I also want to tell you is that when people don't see the value in what you are building, I mean, that means you are trying to raise a fund and you've gone through the process and they reject you. Ensure that you keep in touch with them. Send them your reports, send them your annual report, send them the things that is happening in your organizations. Make them understand why it is important for them to fund your organization. Don't have any bad feelings towards the fact that they didn't fund you. Understand that because someone did not fund you today, that doesn't mean that they won't fund you tomorrow, right? So try to build that relationship with them that can still last, that you can still use to leverage bigger things. And also ensure, like I said, anything you're trying to do, incorporate sustainability, scalability, know how to raise funds, build trust, and build an outstanding team. So thank you very much, guys. Yeah.
Oh, thank you very much, sir. Thank you for that wonderful section. That was mind blowing. Like seriously, it was really a time of learning, and it was really a time of learning and implementation. I would love to say that, because I could say that yesterday we discussed about how to be youth leader, how to fulfill the purpose goal of global health equality, and how to develop your career. But we can see that they start with implement, like just have a flashback about fine, after having this knowledge, I need to implement it. I need to start doing something with it. I need to start making things working right. And we just want to thank Dr. Abiodun Adereni, like just within a very, very like 20 minutes, I really done justice to a lot of things, and there's a lot you have really spoke about. Like there's a lot, and I believe that each and every one of us should really learn great and amazing things from it. And apart from just learning, we were able to, this particular speech by Dr. Abiola Adereni, we were able to transform our life and also impart our career so that we can make a positive change in our environment. So I'd love to ask, does anyone have a question for Dr. Abiodun Adereni? If you have a question you want to ask, I know there should be a lot of questions because there should be a lot of questions because people start asking, okay, after I've learned what I need to learn, how will I start up an NGO? Okay, how will I start up with the processing? It's stressful, and start talking about, a lot of questions that can really come out from there. So I love you to package your question and be bold enough to ask questions. Asking questions is very good because webinar is for every one of us to win, and it was every one of us to really enjoy it, to gain from it. The webinar should be a tool that is going to transform our life. Exactly. So I want every one of us to ask a question. So if you have a question, you can type a question in the chat box, or you can unmute yourself and you can ask a question. Okay, I'm saying thank you so much, Doctor. Thanks so much, insightful message, Doctor. Yeah, this session was really powerful. These are the kind of section I used to love very well because it's about implementing everything I've learned. It's not just about the theory, but be able to implement it. Oh, that's good. Thank you so much, sir. So a lot of entertaining question. Still trying to look for a question in the chat box, or if you have a question, you can unmute yourself and you can ask a question. Okay. Oh, yeah. So, Abdurraif Youngada, you have a question? You can unmute yourself and ask.
All right. Thank you very much for the presentation. It was really enlightening. And so far, I have a way to map our stakeholders very well. The challenges that actually I'm facing is that the program is productive head and right. And most of communities around where I want to implement the project, they are really reluctant or they're very conservative as far as the initiatives and everything. And even the government, they try to put into place some policies, to give access of comprehensive sexuality education to young people. But it's not really effective due to the fact that the area, people are not ready for any movement as far as this. And my organization is actually working on this same area. And I want to know now, yes, you mentioned that we have to know we can make it, and the project is going to be sustainable and all the ingredients to have a very good project are there, knowing that there are already some challenges that are faced and they can be discouraged when we may talk about our project. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Abdurrauf Youngada. So Dr. Abiodun Adereni is going to, we want you to kindly respond to that, sir, as you are the, you are the master plan yourself for signing that. So we'd love to respond to that question by Mr. Abdurrauf Youngada, sir.
If I understand your question, I think you're talking about how stakeholders can kind of help you, or how you can get the partnership of stakeholders for your business and for what you do. I think one of the very important things that you should think about when you think about stakeholders is that what are the things that you are also doing for them to make their life better. So what do I mean by that is that what are you bringing on the table that is beneficial to them? So it is very important that you understand that human beings are very more attentive to things that are also beneficial to them. And it might not be money. It might be like you are helping them to save cost on something. It might be like you are helping them to reduce the time for something. So you have to think deeply what part of your solution is going to make the life of these stakeholders better and is going to reduce something for them that it will be very state government to be deploying our advisor. One of the things that we told them was that the AI innovation will help them reduce vaccine wastage, right? And it makes sense for them because with us deploying that innovation, more mothers can take their children for immunization. And we are also going to reduce things like vaccine wastage for a lot of mothers. So it makes sense for them to support that kind of innovation. So I think one of the things that you should consider or you should think about deeply when you're thinking about innovations like this is that what is it that you're bringing on board that differentiates you from other people, that even when you talk to the stakeholder, they'll be ready to work with you, and how can you help them save time and how can you help them save cost. The other thing also that you can also think around is that who are the necessary people that you have to talk with within the stakeholders? Who are the people that you need to talk to? Who are the decision makers there? Who do I have in my network that can help me talk to the decision makers there? So those are the things on how you can go around partnerships like this. This list is not exhaustive. Like, there are other things you can do, but I am sharing my own experience on how you can go around this. Yeah, thanks.
Oh, thank you very much, Dr. Abiodun. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir, for that. For the answer, it's really quite an interesting answer, I must say, because of it's really able to gain a lot of things from it and how to do that. So I have some questions on the chat box, and I would love to read some out. So Praise is asking, any idea for incentivizing volunteers before being able to pay them? Like, any idea for incentivizing volunteers before being able to pay them? Like volunteer.
So for me, I don't use volunteers.
Okay.
I don't use volunteers at all and be paid in one way or the other. So I don't use volunteers at all for anything. So I might not be the right person to answer that question, but when paid to do, you can always factor. So instead of you employing a project manager that you have to pay a large amount of money, you can get volunteers for that role, maybe like 4 of them, and divide that money you have to pay one person to do that job. In that way, you are factoring equity, justice, and you are making people to trust you. Because I personally feel that when you use volunteers, they are not accountable to the growth of the organizations. So you are always at their mercy, right? A volunteer can tell you today, I'm going to come tomorrow for this project, and at the end of the day, they just tell you in that morning that they can't come. But someone you are employed and you are paying salary can do that. At least, I'm not saying things can't happen where the person might not be able to make it, but there's going to be a level of understanding and communication because they have obligations towards you. But volunteers don't do that. So it is very important you understand how you're going to go around volunteers if you are pushing to do things that require you to have a lot of programs and a lot of projects. Like I said, for me, I don't use volunteers. I don't use them. In fact, even things I know that we might need volunteers, I just get people to do it and I pay them.
Thank you very much, Sal, for the insightful approach towards the question, sir. Daddy Olos, just have to know that I think one thing I can gain from it is that you have to be responsible. So work with responsible people, with those that are very intentional with their plan, with their approach. You know, they are serious about it. Exactly. And what I really gain from it. Thank you for that, sir. My next question, I think it will be second to the last question. So this question is very, very, very interesting and a little bit lengthy, but I'll try to be audible and be fast while reading it. The question says that, so when did you start your NGO, sir? So that was the first question. So continuation, what is your advice for a person who is still schooling but then eager and desirous to set up an NGO or a business? However, the need and challenge of having to cope with study abound. So I think it's an issue of someone that is trying to, you want to start up an NGO or a business, something like that. But it's just schooling, and it's trying to look for a balance between my school and NGO. Like, how can I balance the two together, schooling and also running an NGO too? So, hello, Dr. Abiodun. Hello, can anyone hear me?
Yes, you are audible.
Okay,
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
I guess Dr. Abiodun network probably has network issue with his network. So, okay, when it comes online, definition, I'm going to read it again so about what it says so that we can able to reflect. So, just like I'm going to say some top notch, some things for us to pick from it so we can able to develop that. So it's talk about, okay, it's not online yet. So talk about having a platform for you to demonstrate your leadership skill as a youth, in the global space. So that's one thing I was really able to. Okay, Dr. Gamba, they want to say
Hello,
anything,
Daniel.
sir?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, sir.
Next speaker. So if he eventually joins us back, he can still answer the questions. So,
Okay.
so just be preparing your recap also while I make some contributions.
Okay, sir.
So in terms of the question on incentivizing volunteers, all right. So as someone that has some experience in this area, I think I have something to say. One thing about running an NGO, especially as a young person who don't have all the resources in the beginning, you don't have the money to pay workers, or is that you rely a lot on volunteers. All right, the people in your team are volunteers. The people that carry out the project are volunteers. A lot of times even the skills you need are going to be, from volunteers. Okay, so at the end of the day, you work a lot with volunteers. So how do you actually make these people interested in what you're doing and willing to make that contribution? Because if someone is investing their time and their talents and resources in what you're doing, first of all, they have to believe in what you're doing. So I think the first thing you have to do is to make sure that these people understand why they are even joining your organization. All right, make sure that you pick people who actually show interest in what your cause. All right, so if you're working on eliminating gender-based violence, all right, ensure that people who eventually join your organization understand that this is what you are dealing with. So a lot of times, if you get people who are not really interested in that, but who just want to belong to something and answer that they are volunteering somewhere, you're going to run into trouble because they just get to register what your cause is and why they are joining from the onset. Okay, that's the first thing. So you have to also make sure that your vision, your mission, and what you're going to be doing is very clear to everyone who wants to join you. All right. Then the second thing is that human beings want to gain something from anything, any process, whatever. Please tell me when the speaker comes back so I will stop.
Okay, sir, no problem.
Make sure that whoever is volunteering for you has something to gain. Now, there are different ways that you can add to a volunteer's life. Number one is free trainings, okay? Making sure that you're investing in personal and professional development of your volunteer. Johan Africa, that's the organization that is hosting this summit. You will know that we usually have different programs, including a program like this summit there where we aim to empower young people. All right, so our volunteers, our network members, a lot of times they get our training is free of charge. They get to participate in our projects where they learn hands-on how to organize projects, how to execute projects, grants writing, a number of things, a number of skills that they are exposed to. So that is us incentivizing, because whoever is volunteering for us has something to gain. They know that, okay, I'm going to be benefiting from trainings like this. I'm going to be getting this kind of exposure. I'm going to be getting to network. All right. So there is something that I'm looking forward to. And of course, I always tell volunteers that volunteering counts as work experience, because I think why a lot of people don't want to volunteer is that they don't understand that your volunteering hours actually, if verified, can count as work experience. Okay, so let's say you're looking for a job, you're applying for a fellowship, a scholarship tomorrow, and one of the criteria is that you must have worked for so number of hours in so spaces. All right, and maybe you volunteered in an NGO for so number of years, and you've been active, and they can write you a recommendation or a verification letter to say that you've been working for them. It counts as work experience. Okay, for a number of organizations, will accept it as work experience. So yes, it's very important that you make your volunteers understand that these are the benefits. So, and then of course, like I've given other examples using Johan as an instance, how you can improve your volunteers' life. All right, that will make them understand that you really care about them. It's not just about them contributing to the growth of your organization. So then there's this question someone asked, and I just wanted to say something because I was in that situation at some point in my life, okay, when it comes to this journey of change making. All right. For example, this organization, Johan Africa, was started by myself and other people when we were still students. I was a student back when Johan started. Okay, I was a medical student in my final year of medical school, and I had a lot on my table, but I wanted to. Let me say this now. Ideas are time bound. Okay, just take note of that. Ideas are time bound. I don't know I don't know how many of us have had an idea and we took a lot of time trying to process it, trying to think through and whether we are qualified, maybe imposter syndrome taking hold of you. And before you know it, you wake up one morning and you see that someone has already started implementing your idea. You didn't really share the idea, but someone else had a similar idea and is doing it. It further discourages you because you feel like, oh, this idea, someone is already, pushing it and all that. So what I'm trying to say is that ideas are time bound. I'm not saying you should bite more than you can chew, okay? Understand yourself, your schedule, and know what you can accommodate per time. But ideas are time bound. So when the idea comes, even if you cannot start it, and I think the problem is that a lot of us try to start things on a very big scale. I've interacted with a lot of young people, and when they want to start something, they want to start it very big. They want to start something that the whole world will hear about the next day. All right. And you have to believe in the process if you're going to get something and expect your ideas to multiply in a few months or even years. Sometimes it takes time. So if we ask our speaker now, I don't know if he's back, but if we ask our speaker about his projects and about his company and how his social innovation and how it started and the progress, what it has taken him to get to where he is now with his team, you will hear a lot of stories. Okay, so it's not so that is another important point. The issue is that a lot of us want to start some big thing the next day. It never works that way. So there is a process of scaling, there's a process of growth, which takes all the disappointments, and of course, of all the there's also a lot of progress to celebrate in the process. So it's a mixed thing. So that's the point I also want to make. But if you are really eager to start your project at this phase in your academic career, I still believe it's possible. But what you need to do is to balance things out. Now, I will always say your priority at any point in time in your life is important. Okay, so if you want to start this NGO or this business, but you have school, I believe there's another thing that can give in your scale of preference. Okay, because I don't think anybody just does only school all through when you're in school. There might have been other things you are engaging in that you can cut time from. Okay, so I'm not going to advise any student to cut time from their academic pursuit, because that is going to be a very bad advice. So I'll advise, if there are other things you do that take your time, okay, and you really want to, you're really passionate about the solution you have for a problem, and you want to start it, I think you can do that, but you have to find that balance and, you know, prioritize what you want, you know, within that time frame. So I don't know. I think I've been able to answer the question, was the second question someone had, and I think I added some points to the first answer about incentivizing volunteers. Daniel, is the speaker back?
No, sorry, the speaker is not back.
He's back. He's back.
Okay.
He's back.
Yes, so what's any other question?
Okay, yeah, there's also a question here, the last one.
Yeah.
So the question from Mansi Bagat. So the question says that, thank you for the insightful session, Doctor. I have a quick question, that how NGO going to sustain if an area full of regional inequalities? What are the possible approach should I adapt to start NGO or welfare lab? I'm going to read that again to
No worry, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, so the thing here is that you have to there's no NGO you want to really start. I mean, there's no idea you want to really start that nobody's doing already. I mean, strongly I believe in that. There's no idea except but no matter the idea you want to do, no matter the project you want to do, there's somebody doing it somewhere and is doing it at scale. So one of the things I advise people is that just do your personal research, because I think one of the things that people don't try to do when you want to start anything is to do their own personal research and to see, okay, this idea I'm thinking about, it is actually someone is doing it somewhere. How can I use their learning to make what I want to do better? Or what can I see from what they are doing? What are the mistakes that they've made that I will avoid not to make when I'm starting up where I am? So it is very important to think like that. So let me give you an instance now. Help Mom has, I know people that are doing kits, you know what I mean? Help Mom has, we have an AI innovation, we are the first. We have an e-learning platform, we are the fourth. I mean, an e-learning platform for community health workers, we are the first. The AI innovation, we are the first. The vaccination tracker, I'm not really too sure, but in terms of scale and everything, I think we are the first too, right? The digital health cafe, we are the first. So, but there's some, but like the Clean Birth Kit, I know somebody that started somewhere before. So I think it's very important you also understand your industry and you also keep innovating. Like now, Help Mom has two projects, two new innovations in the pipeline that's coming out soon, right? And it is because of the fact that for me, as the CEO, I also am the person really thinking about how we can keep innovating around what we do. And when you look at our journey, you see that we've gotten funding from Google, we've gotten funding from Facebook, we've gotten funding from the UN, we've gotten funding from virtually any funder that is funding healthcare project across the world. And we've raised close to $1 million. So you should see that all those money won't just come if we are not so particular about innovation and if we are not thinking, because most of the time people want to see what is it that you're doing that is different from what any other person is doing, and how do you think about scaling it? Remember, I've been mentioning something so frequent on this call, which is scale. If you really want to get good money, you have to think about how you're going to scale. A lot of people that have deep pocket, people that are going to give you, people that are going to give you like 100,000 USD, they want to see how you can scale your project. It is very important. Help Mom has gotten 250,000 USD twice from different funder. We've even got close to 300,000 USD from Google. We got 250 from another funder in the US. The reason why they supported what we are doing was not because of the kit. No,
the reason why they supported what we're doing was the form of the AI innovation, the tracker, the ways that we are thinking about scaling, and we are using technology to do that. So it is very important that you think about this thing at the inception when you're starting. Because like I said, the lifetime of NGOs in Africa is just 5 years. 5 years. Because at the end of the day, they do the same thing, they don't get funding, the founder leaves the country, go do his master's. That's just like this timeline and how it happens a lot of time. And you don't want to, I'm not saying, let me backtrack. I'm not saying you leaving your NGO to go and do your master's is a bad thing. But if you're thinking about what you want to do, you want to do it for a long time, and you want to do it for a very extended period of time, you must think about sustainability, scalability, and financial, how you're going to get the finance to support what you're doing. And when you're thinking about that, you must think about innovation and technology in it. See, there is no area you want to do: healthcare, agriculture, climate, polarization, happiness and well-being, environment. There's nowhere you want, there's no thematic area that you want to focus in that you can't use technology and innovation to solve the problem that exists there. So it is very important to think about this at the initial stage. It is very also important you learn from people that have done what you've done before, so that it can help you to think about scaling. It can help you to think about how you can improve on your idea. It can help you to think about how you can make what you're doing better. Because the truth of the matter is this, and that's something I've noticed in Nigeria, especially in Nigeria. If people see that what you're doing, you're getting funding for it, they come after you to start doing the same thing. So tell me, how do you want to differentiate yourself from them? I've had issues. See, there was somebody, I don't want to mention the person yet, somebody in this country that took our impact report and changed it. The only thing they just did was to change the name and the logo, and they presented it as theirs. Imagine. So you should see that you have to think about people, because people, when they see something is working, they after you, they want to also kind of replicate. So you have to also always stay ahead of the curve and always stay ahead of them in terms of innovation. And let me also say something very fast. I know some people might ask me that, how do we innovate when we don't have money? Some of the things, some of the innovations that we've done, some of the projects that we've done, HelpMum, we didn't spend our money. What I did was that I partnered with people that shared the same kind of vision that we had to actually do some of these projects. When we were writing our advisor paper, to get an AI engineer to work with you is $120,000 a year. A very good AI engineer. And I don't have that money to pay $120,000 to an AI engineer, something that we can use to run like our project for some time. What I did was to partner with Google. Google gave me all their 3 AI engineers for free to work with us. They made the introduction to Vanderbilt University. Those ones also gave us AI engineers. And we were able to write a research paper that is top-notch, that was accepted at an AI conference. We even got an award for it. If HelpMum was meant to pursue that alone, we would have had to stay for a long time to do that. I would have had to wait forever. So, like what am I trying to say? Try to see people, institutions that you can leverage on their expertise to also carry out projects for yourself. See, there's something that even the Bible says it, knock, and it shall be given unto you. Always ask, right? Some of the things that we've gotten in life, HelpMum has gotten as been as a result of the fact that I asked. I'm just asking. Like, I remember when we got the funding we got last year from Patrick JMC Governor Foundation, I was like sending emails for 2 months. They didn't respond to me. 2 months. Then I started looking for what are the networks I have? Who do I know within my network that have collected money from these people before? Then I got somebody that I know that I made the introduction. Then later, like 5 months later, I didn't give up. I was not like, oh, I'm sending emails to these people every week. They are not answering me. how they are not ever going to fund us. If I had given up like that, maybe they wouldn't have gotten that 250,000 USD that we got from them last year. So it is important that you also ask. When you see people, partners that are very essential to your success as an organization, reach out to them, keep knocking on those doors, look at people within your network that can make that introduction. And I'm telling you, things will work the way you want. Thank you.
Wow, wow, wow. That is amazing, sir. Thank you very, very much, sir. Thank you for the answer, sir. It was very great, and it was very impactful too. So I saw something in the chat box, and I'd love to say it's not a question though. People are just, someone was asking that how can he, okay, let me read it out. As Oniloye Ane, he said, sir, is there a way one could be part of Help Mom? So like, how can someone join this wonderful organization? So someone is asking that. So I'd love you to speak on that. And also, before I also continue, there is the attendance form is at the chat box, so you can kindly go there to fill the attendance for today. And you also have to remember that that is very, very compulsory and very necessary, because it is through there that you can able to get a certificate for this particular summit. So there's need for you to fill the attendance form. So kindly urge everyone to go to the chat box and get the link to able to fill the attendance form, and it's going to be there for just at most 5 minutes. So we have to do that very fast and able to register for today. So thank you for that. So Dr. Abiodun, love to hear from you, sir. How could someone be a part of this wonderful and great organization, sir?
So if you listen to me during at the beginning of this conversation, I said that we don't use volunteers, right?
Okay.
I mean, but we like now in the next 2 weeks, we'll be recruiting for some roles, and I will share it on my LinkedIn, right? I mean, and I don't undo recruitment also at Help Mom. Like, I don't interfere with the process, just for transparency and a lot of things that we stand by. But the person can be on a watch out on our pages, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, where we have openings, and the person can apply, right? Even if it's a part-time, we look at that sometime.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for that. Thank you for the insightful speech. Thank you for the contribution. Thank you for the answers to the question. They are top-notch, sir. Thank you very, very much. We sincerely appreciate you, and I'm very sure that everyone here has really learned a lot, and they're ready to practicalize everything they have learned. Okay, so like Dr. Abiodun have said, there are many, many opportunities. Like, there are a lot of them. I can't start counting now. I know like there are many opportunities you can apply for. You can apply for grants, and many grants can apply for as a medical practitionist, or even in every phase like of profession, there are grants you can apply for. There are a lot of them you can really apply for. You just have to know the process, and you just have to have a positive mindset. You have to have a mindset to make a positive impact, community in your country. And by doing that, these are what will motivate you to really able to apply for grants. And there are many more that you can win. I've been a living testimony of my mentors that have won grants, several thousands of dollars, international grants, and are doing very, very great today. So I want to urge us, we should have plans for that. We should have plans to apply for opportunities. It's opportunity that we apply for that we can be able to conceive and achieve. If you don't apply for it, there's no how we can be able to win or achieve anything. So there's need for us to have a positive mindset towards applying for opportunities, for grants, for bodies, and collaborating with bodies that can help our NGOs or help our help our ideas to grow. So thank you very much, Shah. So I want to appreciate Dr. Abiola once again. Has done a very wonderful speech, and like I'm just very, very amazed. Yeah, I'm really glad to say I'm amazed by it. very, very transformational. So I'm going to go to our next speaker now for today, our last speaker for today. And I know that the first session has been great, but I'm here to tell you that there's more to come. I'm here to tell you that there's more to come, and it's more for you to really learn. So I'm going to like to introduce second speaker for today, person of Mr. Alois Urasa. I'm sorry if I didn't pronounce that word. Okay, so Alois Urasa is a public health scientist specializing in implementation and health system. They have a research background in health laboratory science. His passion lies in health diplomacy, research, advocacy, financing, and entrepreneurship. He's currently the chairperson of the African Leaders Malaria Alliance. He's also the board member of Rotation Against Malaria Global and a member of the GFF Global Youth Platform and Afro PhD. As an entrepreneur, he runs Women's and Pharmaceutical Company Limited, a private healthcare company based in Tanzania. Alias has experience serving and volunteering with several movements, civil society, and international organizations in health development areas such as the Global Financing Facilities, the CSOs and Youth Coordinations, Health Promotion Tanzania, Malaria No More UK, and so on and so forth. Like, he's a trained young leader for health and health system that is strengthening the advocacy of research in Africa and UK. So join me as I welcome our next speaker, Mr. Alois Urasa. You're welcome, sir. Hello. Can anyone hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Okay. I guess he just he's online now. I guess he left before. So Dr. Alois Urasa, you're welcome, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you, sir.
Oh, thank you. I'm sorry that I was traveling today and unfortunately got late. So I'm in a place which with very disturbing internet. You can see I'm trying to keeps kicking me out.
So sorry about that, sir.
If I can try to turn my video. Disconnect, sorry. I'm trying to switch on my video. If it may work.
Okay. Yeah, we can see you now, sir.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Greetings to everyone. Apologies for the network issues and challenge being here and hearing from partly from, I think, Dr. Daniel, who really gave great statements to each of you, and it was really motivational hearing from the great initiative that he runs. I didn't catch the name due to internet issues as well.
Okay.
And I think those are the real things that as young people we need to do in order to overcome systemic barriers to youth leadership towards growing as young leaders. I know since yesterday you've heard from amazing young leaders, including Daniela from Global Health Mentorship, from my colleague Odinaka Kingsley from Block Malaria Project in Nigeria, but also a member of the ALMA Youth Advisory Council, and many other young people, including your leaders from the UN organization. I really commend the planning for this summit, which is really paramount to unleash and uproot more potentials from young people that really reside within us. You know, when I was starting to embark on the journey of leadership, I went through a training that was on youth leadership and for health. And through that training, we have taken through different kinds of through different topics. And one of the topics was about identifying the power that you belong to. And the facilitator mentioned different categories of power that we possess as individuals, but also as teams, as institutions, and different groups. And the same topic, I've come to meet it when I was doing my master's studies in public health, and particularly when I was doing
Hello, sir. Hello, Mr. Alios.
Yes, can you hear me
Yes,
now?
sir, we can hear you, sir. Yes, sir, we can hear you. Sorry about the network issue, sir.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Please bear with me. So I was talking about the issue of identifying agents in different systems. I see my internet is still unstable, but when you talk of power, there's different forms of power that we may possess, and it can be power with, that is the power to do with others, power to also be power within, and that is the most important to understand and be able to unleash the power within our. It can also be given to you, for instance, through whether you are a leader or you are appointed or you are elected to lead a certain organization. So that mandate or that authority gives you power over things. But my main point here is now to talk about unleashing the potentials, unleashing the power that is within us. I'm sorry, I do not have a presentation, PowerPoint presentation. Sorry, I did not prepare. I was having more of a conversation, not a lecture. So unleashing that power that is within us, it's very critical for us to overcome systemic barriers that we face as young people when trying to embark into leadership, or trying to embark into
Hello, Mr. Alois, are you there? Oh, guess his network is very, very bad. Okay, thank God you're back again, sir.
No. So this can also be one of the systemic barriers to achieving our goals in this summit. And I'm sorry, next time I'll try my best to find a better way to engage. So as I was saying, unleashing that power and the potential that is within us as young people, the potential, first of all, is furnished with the influence that we have, the energy that we have, given our age, given our opportunity to keep doing things, as I said, given our age, given the energy that we have to change things, to think differently, to tap into different opportunities. So this is a very important thing that I want to emphasize before we start now breaking down the topic that we have to discuss today. When we are talking about systemic barriers to youth leadership, before even understanding or being able to see what kind of barriers that young people face towards engaging in leadership or towards becoming becoming leaders in different sectors, and here particularly in global health, and this knowing how these barriers can also influence or affect health. And when we talk of the ladder of knowledge, we need to be at the peak of the ladder, and the ladder of knowledge starts with with information, getting information, being able to create or generate knowledge out of that information, because you might have information but not being knowledgeable about that information. So we need to climb from just accessing or having information about particular subject, and here particularly we are talking about leadership, but also being knowledgeable about that, and climbing to another step of understanding. When you know about it, then understanding, have that comprehensive understanding about that particular matter. And here particularly we are talking of leadership. And then the highest level is being able to utilize that knowledge, that information, now to lead others, or to lead general, or to take action in your community, or to run a project, or to establish a startup and something, and so on and so forth. So when at this level, we call it wisdom now. That is the highest level of knowledge in the knowledge ladder that we need to achieve as young people, so that we can be able